guys, it's Adriana. The other day, one of my friends asked me if I could recommend some movies that were girly but not completely chick flicks. I totally thought that was a cool idea. It's always hard to find some good, really, movies that have more depth that aren't completely just like girl movies or chick flicks, but may appeal to someone who likes chick flicks. These are 10 movies that are not chick flicks. Number 10 is Closer, which is a movie starring Jude Law, Julia Roberts, Natalie Portman, and Clive Owen. It's about 4 people who are all unfaithful to each other, 2 couples, a lot of intermingling in between the 4 of them. It's based on the play by Patrick Marber. It's completely so well acted. It's a really good film, really fun in some ways, and really shows these 4 people and how naive they are and how weak they are and how selfish they are. My number 9 pick is actually really similar to Closer, I just realized right now. But it's called Last Night, and this is also about a movie of 4 people whose relationships get tested over one night where, we have Keira Knightley and Sam Worthington who are married, and they are tested by Eva Mendes and by Guillemot Kenne, who's a French actor. It's really good. It really makes you think again about like relationships and stuff. It shows the weak points of people, kind of ends leaving it kind of, what? One of those. But I really like movies that end kind of abruptly. My number 8 pick is a movie that I really recently saw that I really loved. It's called Damsels in Distress. It's actually from 2012. This movie stars Greta Gerwig and a bunch of other people. This movie is about a group of college girls who spend their time working at a suicide prevention center. They're very uppity, they think they know everything. It's a Whit Stillman film. A lot of people won't be familiar with him, but he's a filmmaker that I recently discovered who I love. I haven't seen all of his movies. I've only seen this and Last Days of Disco, which I wanted to include on this list, but I didn't really want to put 2 Whit Stillmans, so I will also shout out to Last Days of Disco. He has this very unique style. His films have such witty dialogue, such dry humor. This movie is full-on dry humor, but I think it's hilarious. And Greta Gerwig gives an amazing performance as Violet, who basically is so obsessed with making everyone not feel depressed. Meanwhile, she kind of falls into that herself. It's really different. It's a very different film, and you'll really get a feel for Whit Stillman's style just with the script. It's completely, the dialogue is the highlight of this movie. It's really hilarious if you have that kind of sense of humor. My number 7 pick is About a Boy, which obviously it's about a boy. This is not really a girly film, but the fact that Hugh Grant is the star makes a lot of people think that this is a chick flick, which I really don't think it is, but it is a movie that I really has a special place in my heart. It's based on the book by Nick Hornby, and I've also read the book. It's a really great book, and the movie adapts it. Actually, I think the movie does a better job than the book does. I really love the movie. So we have Hugh Grant and Nicholas Hoult. It's about a man who really has nothing in his life. He doesn't have a job. He just wants frivolous relationships, and he seeks out single mothers to try to date them and stuff like that. He's kind of sleazy. But he manages to become friends with this little boy named Marcus, and they have this really sweet friendship, and it makes for a really heartwarming film, and the dialogue is so smart and clever and hilarious. You really have to watch for it, because this is one that has so many little lines here and there that are so funny that you could easily miss. My number 6 is Take This Waltz, which was directed by Sarah Polley, who is one of my favorite people in the business in general. I think she's incredible. She's a director, a screenwriter. She also wrote Take This Waltz, and she used to be an actress. Take This Waltz stars Michelle Williams, Seth Rogen, and Luke Kirby, and it's about a woman who is married happily, but is distracted by this man, her neighbor, who kind of leads her to realize that there's nothing really exciting in her life, and she kind of gets led astray by him. People don't like the main character because they think she's really selfish, but I think Michelle Williams also does an incredible job as Margot. Filmed in Toronto, and it makes Toronto look completely beautiful, so I also love it for that reason. But everyone in this movie, even Seth Rogen, gives great performances. It just has this really like melancholic feel to it, but it's a really great film. My number 5 pick is Little Children. This is also based on a book by Tom Perrotta, and the book is also great, but here's another case where I think the movie did an even better job. This movie stars Kate Winslet, Patrick Wilson, and Jackie Earle Haley, and it's about these people who live in this neighborhood together. Two people, Kate Winslet's character and Patrick Wilson, who start becoming friends because they both take their kids to the park together, and things kind of take off from there between them. But the main plot point going on here is that a sex offender has recently moved into the neighborhood. That's played by Jackie Earle Haley, who gives an amazing performance. My number 4 pick is The Science of Sleep, which is a film by Michel Gondry, who also directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is one of my favorite movies ever. He uses his really unique visual style as well to an even greater extent, I would say, in The Science of Sleep, which is the romance of Stefan and Stephanie. And Stefan is a man who confuses his dreams with his reality, which leads to some really crazy visual stuff. I mean, really super unique, and I think Michel Gondry is amazing at that. He's played by Gael Garcia Bernal, and Stephanie is played by Charlotte Gainsbourg. It's a really cute, sweet movie by two really lovable main characters. My number 3 pick is My Life Without Me, which actually stars Sarah Polley, who I was talking about earlier with Take This Waltz. This movie it has become one of my favorite movies. I've seen it quite a few times now, and it always affects me the same way. It's such a beautiful film. It's about a woman named Anne. She's maybe 22 or 23 years old, already married, already has 2 children, but like they're very content with their life, but kind of poor and not able to afford that much because they're 2 working people who, had children at a really early age. And Anne gets diagnosed with cancer and only has 1 month to live. And she doesn't tell anybody about it. And she makes a list of things that she wants to do before she dies. And one of them is to fall in love with someone new, because she's only ever been with her husband. Really sad as well, but in a very sweet kind of way. It's still really heartwarming, and I really can't say enough. I love this movie. My number 2 pick is one that's probably the most popular, I would say, but 500 Days of Summer, which I've seen this movie countless times. It's just one of those movies you can always rewatch, and stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel. It's about 500 days over the course of a relationship between Tom and Summer, on and off relationship. Basically, it's just about relationships and the expectations certain people have in it going in, and it's just done like in such a unique way. There's so many choices that the director makes that really make this film stand out. There's this expectations reality scene. If you haven't seen it, that's probably one of my favorite scenes ever in any movie. I think it's brilliant. And then the whole order of the film. It's 500 days of their relationship, but told in completely random order. And my number 1 pick is 2 movies. And these 2 movies are actually my all-time favorite movies. And I have them together because they're, one's a sequel to the other, and you can't really have one without the other. So it's Before Sunrise and Before Sunset. And if any one of you follows me on Twitter, you know how crazy excited I am about Before Midnight, which is at Sundance right now and is getting amazing reviews. Apparently it's the best of the series. So Before Sunrise, I guess I'll only explain Before Sunrise because if you haven't seen them, Before Sunset, if I go into that, it might kind of give stuff away. It stars Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. I mean, I think their relationship, their characters, Celine and Jesse, I think it's the best cinematic on-screen relationship that has ever been in any movie. And they're 2 of the most real and authentic portrayals of people I've ever seen. You really feel like these are real people. Like, in my mind, Jesse and Celine exist in real life, and they are real people, and this really happened. So I think that they're just the most completely natural. These two movies are so completely natural. I think it's just the best achievement of that sort in any film. But basically, in Before Sunrise, Celine and Jesse meet on a train going to Vienna. Spontaneously, Jesse asks Celine if she would get off with him in Vienna because he's getting off, and what would happen if they spent one night together. So Before Sunrise is their one night together, but Before Sunrise and Before Sunset, it's a romance film, but it's so much more than that. I mean, this is just two people talking and having the most real, authentic conversation, stuff that I love to talk about, like really philosophical, and you have to see it. It's hard. I can't just tell you that it's really incredible. It's something you have to see to know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, a lot of people think it sounds boring. Oh, it's just two people talking for a whole movie, but I think it just really speaks to what people are like and what relationships are like. Great, thank you so much for watching my top 10 These Are Not Chick Flicks. Just comment below if there's any other ideas you want for me to do for top 10s, or just any other movie reviews you want me to do, or comment if you like my list, if you hate my list, if you like something and don't like something. I'd love to hear about it. So thank you again for watching. I hope you get to check out some of these movies.